pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Recorder, roll call.
Mayor Bunker, Vice Mayor Roman,
Here.
Commissioner Dial,
Here.
Commissioner Gallick,
Present.
Commissioner Plum.
Here.
First up, public hearing. Ordinance final reading, amending the official voting map of the city of Lakeland by rezoning property referred as the Evolve property located just west of Chambers Chapel Road from agricultural and R1 to R1, R2, OS3, and OS5.
All right, do we have anyone? Let's see. Do we have anyone here to speak on the subject? I do not see anybody signed up, so we will move on to public hearing item 2.
Public hearing, ordinance final reading, amending the land development regulations for the city of Lakeland, Tennessee, making administrative edits.
Again, I don't have anybody signed up. Anybody would like to speak on this topic? Seeing none, public hearing item 3.
Ordinance final reading, changing the Lakeland city election date to coincide with the November general election date.
We can wait. We do have one speaker for this item, Ms. Stephanie Lakeland. Please approach the podium, state your name and address for the record, and you have 2 minutes.
Stephanie Leffler, 9606 Oak Point Cove. You have stated that you want to change the election dates to November on even years because of the cost savings of $11,000 a year and to encourage more turnout in the local elections. This also, of course, adds 14 months to your terms. Number one, I believe it'll be very hard for the average person to be educated on local issues during the intense news coverage and brouhaha that surrounds a national election. If you feel that strongly about moving them, why not at least shoot for a county election or something that wouldn't be quite as overwhelming for the average voter? Number two, I believe if you are truly interested in the unity of Lakeland, which was of course a platform y'all ran on, and hoping to lead us back to a place where we can come together as a city, voting yourselves an extra 14 months of office might not be the best way to accomplish that, regardless of what your intentions truly are. We are voting for term limits. Is there, and this is a question for you really, is there any possible way to amend that to include a vote about changing election times as well? That was for you, Attorney.
I'm not really in a position to kind of respond.
Oh, well, can y'all respond?
Not this time. Is there anything else? Do you want to finish your talk before you yield the rest of your time?
Well, if it's possible and we want unity, I mean, let's let the people decide this. And if that's an impossibility, then I honestly believe it should be voted down. Let's move forward as a city and strive towards unity. That's it.
Seeing nobody else sign up for public discussion on this matter, we will move to reports from committees, members of the board, and commissioners. I'm sorry, treasurer's report, ma'am.
Treasurer's report, June 2015, general fund, state street aid fund, sewer fund, stormwater fund, and solid waste fund.
Commissioners, do we have any questions on these reports? Can I get a motion to accept these?
Motion to accept the treasurer's report.
And I assume this is for June 15th and December 15th, we're expecting to vote at the same time. We have a motion to accept.
Yes, second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Treasury reports are now,
I think we do vote on the audit, but those were both together, so
I do not, is the audit part of the general,
I think it was. I'm sorry, I was late.
See it. Yeah, it's a resolution 5, it's regular June 5.
Okay. Okay.
So we'll do two. Okay, so, reports have been accepted. Reports from committees, members of the board, and commissioners and officers.
City manager.
City manager?
To make a couple quick reports. First one being City Hall is closed on Monday for the MLK holiday. Also, middle school bid opening is coming up January 19th. That was a big deal. I know we had a pre-bid meeting this past week. And it was very well attended, which was very encouraging. But the bid opening is on the 19th. Also, I mentioned last week about the tour to Lakeland. That's the bike race that's coming up April 30th. The city's planning for. Had a great meeting last night, an organizational meeting that went very well. Planning for that event. So details will be forthcoming. But talking about sponsorships and festivities other than the bike race itself, and that's coming along well. But other than that, I'll take any questions you have. That's all I'm going to have in my report tonight.
Questions? Do we have any reports from various committees that you'd like to, any of you would like to share?
NPC?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. The last meeting, the NPC approved the middle school's site plan based on all the standards being met, regulations being met. And also we approved the application to construct a retail building for Starbucks. And it'll be located, of course, within the site of the boundaries of the shopping center. And there's also alongside Starbucks, there's also going to be a business that hadn't been reported or we haven't been told exactly who it is or what it is yet, but it's going to be attached to the Starbucks building. I don't know if that's any change from that, Jim, as to what the building visiting, what the business would be, one would still be anchored next door to Starbucks.
That hasn't been determined yet, so I'm not aware of it.
All right. And that's pretty much it. That's it.
Anything else? Parks and Rec?
We had our Parks and Rec meeting, and we have elected new officers, and Nancy Coach is going to be the chair of the Parks and Rec department. New business was the name the stage discussion. All of our members are going to take home a list that was given to us that night, and then we will be bringing back suggestions to this board for us to make the final determination as to what we will actually be naming it. There will be a concert series that we will be very involved in the planning. The Adult Basketball League has brought in approximately 70 men to play basketball. We will be having an Easter egg hunt. That will be the most immediate event that we will be holding March the 19th. And we did discuss the bike race that Jim referred to earlier. The new members were given a list of the events that the Parks and Rec Board usually takes care of throughout the year.
Great, thank you very much.
LDC, well, the LDC, Sean Massey came to the LDC meeting, and although there's nothing that is concrete, he said that there were too many businesses that were for the amount of boxes or the amount of sites up by Wolf Chase and in that general area. And so that was very good for our area, because what they're looking for is at least 3 anchors to start the Lake District. And I think he said that it should be done by, I think, May. They should know all the placements that are going to go in there, so that at that time we might have opportunity to secure some of those businesses and hopefully get the Lake District started. So that was encouraging.
Great. Seeing no other updates, we will move on to the consent agenda.
Consent agenda, approval of meeting minutes from previous meetings, regular meeting minutes, December 10th, 2015, ordinance first reading, amending the fiscal year 2015-2016 budget passed by ordinance 15-222 and amended by ordinance 15-225, resolution approving a construction agreement with Magnolia Underground Construction Incorporated for the Oakwood Subdivision Retaining Wall project, resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with Beehive Industries LLC for data management software, resolution approving the design of the gateway signs for the city of Lakeland, Tennessee, resolution appointment to the Shelby County Municipal Solid Waste Planning Board, resolution identifying a new slogan for the city of Lakeland, Tennessee.
Thank you, ma'am. Can I get a motion to accept?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Consent agenda passes.
Regular agenda, ordinance final reading, amending the official zoning map of the city of Lakeland by rezoning property referred as the Evolve property located just west of Chambers Chapel Road from agricultural and R1 to R1, R2, OS3, and OS5.
Yes, sir.
Tom Seagan, Planning Director. This ordinance before you is to rezone the property known as the Evolve property. We have before you an illustration indicating the districts that they intend to establish. I think it's important to keep in mind when we're doing any type of rezoning, be it a large parcel like this or a very small parcel, that the main issue is in a rezoning or reclassification is this an appropriate use of the land? And the first thing that I'll do when I look at that answer to the question would be to look at the future land use plan. Well, our future land use plan in Lakeland is rather unique in that it's a little bit dated, but we have an updated neighborhood type plan. And this area has been designated as a neighborhood type 2, which does allow for R1, R2, and even R3 zoning. So in terms of consistency with our neighborhood types, this is an appropriate, or at least a consistent use of the land as dictated by the neighborhood type plan. You also look at surrounding land uses. Of course, in this case, you have a lot of areas to the east that are not developed, and you've got areas to the west that are developed. And we've talked about this with the Oakwood Grove rezoning in terms of the densities being similar to the Grove and Oakwood. And this plan, it parallels those densities also. They've also, we want to look at, is this going to have a detrimental impact on the area? And that's rather open in that detrimental can be a use that's really not appropriate for that area. It could be premature development, and those are decisions that this body has to look at. It did come from the Planning Commission with a unanimous decision to push this forward with a favorable recommendation. Of course, this body has the final answer on that. Just as a reminder, R1, our residential lot, single family, of 17,500 square feet minimum. R2 allows for single family residential lots of a minimum of 10,000 square feet. I think it's important to note that, again, we're looking at a realignment possibly of Chambers Chapel, but more importantly, some of the open space that they've given and set aside. It does meet our requirements. And some of this area through here are actually some of the high priority conservation areas. The Planning Commission set forth conservation districts and identify those areas with very great slopes involved or natural features that wanted to be preserved, gave them a high priority, and some of those areas are being protected with this development in mind.
Thank you. Any questions? That being said, this being final reading, Madam Recorder, roll call vote, please. Yes?
Commissioner Dial,
Yes.
Commissioner Gallick,
Yes.
Commissioner Plum.
Yes.
On final reading, this ordinance passes unanimously. Item 2, ma'am.
Ordinance final reading, amending the land development regulations for the city of Lakeland, Tennessee, making administrative edits.
Yes, sir.
Again, Tom C., Planning Director. You have before you a number of text amendments to the land development regulations. Again, these are what I consider administrative in nature. I've not changed any of the regulatory requirements.
Does anybody have any questions for him? If no one has any questions, I'll go ahead and call for the vote. Roll call vote, ma'am?
Vice Mayor Roman,
Yes.
Commissioner Dial,
Yes.
Commissioner Gallick,
Yes.
Commissioner Plum.
Yes.
Unanimously passes. I have a request here to move agenda item 5 up next. Do we have any objections to that? Okay, Madam Clerk, item 5.
Resolution accepting the audit for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2015.
Good evening, Trevor Watkins with Mike and Gibraltar CPA firm. I'd like to report that you received a clean audit this year. Several challenges presented in this year's audit reflected the schools being added into your financial statements. I presume everyone has a copy of these statements. Big issues that we encountered, obviously the first year of operations of the school systems, the establishment of the 5 new funds that make up the school system that are now included in your statements. And in addition to that, there were several accounting standard changes, one of the major ones being the recording of the pension liabilities. Y'all have no liabilities because you're in the TCRS plan. The city itself has a $7,000, approximately $7,000 net pension asset, which is very, very good pension on the positive side. So I did want to highlight that. A couple things to point out in here. Pages 4 through 10 are the MD&A, the financial statements. We review that MD&A to make sure it's consistent with the financial information in the financial statements. It's a very good layman's way of reading these statements. This is a very big report. I think it increased in size by 30 pages this year or somewhere thereabouts. So I know it can get cumbersome. One of the things I like to offer up to the boards such as yourself is that I'm always happy to come back in a work session or meet with you one-on-one individually if you have questions or want to have a better understanding of how these things are laid out, because it gets very cumbersome. The way the governmental accounting standards work is you have 2 sets of financials. You have a full accrual-based financial statement, which includes things like capital assets and debt. Then you have the fund financial statements in which those types of items are actually run through your, lack of a better word, P&L. And so just a couple of highlights here I'd like to point out. At the, on page 11, under the full accrual statements, you have a unrestricted net position of $12,303,000. So that's good. During the year, the changes in the accrual statement, or otherwise your I won't say income, but your surplus for the year was $2,588,000. So again, that increased in that position. On the fund statements, these are the ones that are more cash basis oriented. You had a net fund balance of $10,305,000, and of that, you had a change this year of $3,410,000. So with that, I can go into as much detail as you'd like, or I can go into as little as you like, but I'm here to answer any questions you might have from reviewing these statements.
Can you just give, oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you just give just a very brief synopsis, which you have already started, as to our position getting better this year?
It's better.
So,
It's definitely
so they will know
right.
more information.
Those surpluses that I talked about, and those are increases to your reserve. So some of that money may be earmarked for projects and things of that nature, but it went up. So you spent less than you brought in.
And one other question. Our audit, I'm told, is very clean, and that's very rare.
That is, you have a great staff.
So,
I will Jessica and her staff, they were very helpful this year, especially with all the changes. So, what else?
No, I said she's a rock star.
Oh,
She
she's
does that all the
great.
time.
And I will say this too, Jesse, they work very well together. The schools, Ted, everybody worked very well together. And for that, I'm extremely grateful because that's not always the case. And so I was very thrilled with the support that they gave us and always ready to give us the information. We had some staffing changes in the middle, which complicated things. They were very helpful in getting us in there and getting us the information we needed so we could wrap up. So big year from an audit perspective, just with all the changes. And I would say Lakeland's was probably one of the smoother ones that we did. So.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
So you're saying we're on financially solid ground? Like
You are on solid ground.
Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you.
I will call for the vote of accepting regular agenda item 5, resolution. Roll call vote, ma'am.
Vice Mayor Roman,
Yes?
Commissioner Dial,
Yes.
Commissioner Gallick,
Yes.
Commissioner Plump,
Yes.
Passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have a request here for 2 other people to speak, even though we're past the public speaking. Is it okay with you guys? Okay, I will go ahead and call them up individually. And I have another one, but I'm going to wait and let him speak right before the agenda item. I've got Ms. Delphine Rose.
I would like to speak before the agenda item, please.
Okay.
KLB, I believe it's number 8.
Actually, let's just have everybody go ahead and speak now, if you don't mind. So let's call them up one at a time.
I do mind, because Mayor Bunker is not here.
Well, this is the time to speak, so if you would like to speak. But I will go ahead and call up Mr. Paul Ryan.
I'm here on item agenda number 6.
Okay, if you could go ahead and say what you'd like to say about it. That'd be great. Oh, he signed up for public.
He's the applicant.
Okay, all right, we'll leave for questions. You signed the public appearance, so, all right. All right, no problem, no problem. Ms. Rose, are you ready?
I sure am.
Okay.
Delphine Rose, 121 Harbor Point Way, Lakeland. And unfortunately, this was really mostly directed at the mayor. The card I completed in order to speak says KLB, Keep Lakeland Beautiful. I believe that's the card you have. And I trust you have all seen the card that I'm referring to. I've been making small, regular deposits in my bank of experience, education, and training for the past 75 years. There are situations that arise in life that enable me to make withdrawals from that bank. On January 7th, my 75th birthday, you all know, I sat in this room and heard the resolution sponsored by Mayor Bunker regarding Keep America Beautiful / Keep Lakeland Beautiful. I experienced a lack of knowledge regarding Mayor Bunker's resolution from you, Commissioner Dial, and from you, Commissioner Romans. Sorry. And especially Mayor Bunker. And I was treated with disrespect once again by Mayor Bunker. However, what is most important to me was the way in which Mayor Bunker treated Commissioner Gaylor. The dictionary defines humiliate, to lower the pride of self-respect, to cause a painful loss of dignity, and to mortify an individual. Lack of respect. This is what I witnessed last Thursday by Mayor Bunker. Good evening, Mayor Bunker. Commissioner Gallick is not deserving of this treatment. She is to be commended for her service to the city of Lakeland. As a volunteer on the KLB Volunteer Committee, she, and at the time Commissioner Jean Torrey, were able to clean and landscape the median on Fletcher Trace by the Sprouts supermarket from the KLB fund. Mrs. Gaylor and the volunteer committee, of which I'm no longer, of KLB, were working for the praise and glory of the city of Lakeland and the environment that God has given us, not for the praise and glory of ourselves. Thank you.
Ms. Lou Milton?
Liz Alton, 9584 Pine Point Drive. I got 2 or 3 things I want to talk about, but I'll place the one on here. The first one is the subject of changing the election date to coincide with the presidential elections. And I understand that the reason why we're doing this is to save funds, and I'm all about saving money. However, I have a couple of questions. Why did we move them all the way to the presidential election? Why didn't we go for in the spring? Or why didn't we put this on the ballot for the voters of Lakeland? I do appreciate and respect the fact that y'all voted in term limits. I do think that that was a good thing on your part, but I think turning around and doing this little exercise right here takes away every bit of integrity that you have. I'm sorry, that's the way I feel. I feel like that if you intended to do this, we just had an election in September. Y'all should have said that that's what you intended to do and extend it. Can you not vote this in and have the extended terms be on the next?
Are you
can't do that,
Are you
Chris.
yielding your time?
I'm sorry?
Are you yielding the rest of your time?
No.
Okay.
Okay. That's about that part. Okay, the next thing I wanted to say was Davis Plantation Road, bike paths and the walkways. I understand that you felt like the Davis Plantation was too much of a speedway, too much traffic going on and everything. Just wanted to remind you that we had that problem on Fletcher Trace, and they installed the bike paths and the speed bumps, and it, slowed down, and it certainly took care of that problem there. I don't want us to pass up this opportunity for the grant for the TIF money. That's the highest concentration of children in Lakeland in that area. And I just feel like the bike paths would really be something to help promote tourism and a good community thing, not to mention how much safer it would be for the kids for us to have that crosswalk and the other. And last but not least, we had a successful week. We got through with light, gas, and water and got ABC tree trimming back out here. Sherry Gallick, shout out to you. I appreciate that. We worked hard, got them back out here. They're cleaning up Canada Road. They're going to a couple other streets and taking care of that. And I want to thank you for cleaning up Canada Road yesterday. I did see you and the others out there because I'm a strong supporter of the Keep Lakeland Beautiful. It means it promotes keeping our property values up. We need it. Thanks so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, I see that well, you know that the mayor is here, and I will turn the gavel over to the mayor. We are at regular agenda item 3, and agenda item 5 has already been voted on.
Okay. And you don't have to do that. You want your vote. Agenda size for voting.
We skipped.
Skip through. Apologize for my tardiness, work called, and I did not have a choice. So, moving on, Madam Recorder, heard that we have completed items number 1 and item number 2. That we're on item number 3. Is that correct?
We've done item number 5 as well.
And item number 5. Okay. We'll move on to item number 3.
Ordinance final reading, changing the Lakeland City election date to coincide with the November general election date.
You have a motion to get this to the floor.
So moved.
I have a second. I have a motion from Commissioner Gallup, a second from Commissioner Dow. And I guess, have all of these spoken on these cards as well?
Everybody's.
Okay, I heard multiple topics that were discussed, including myself. And do we have any discussion on this election day change? To answer the question is directly posed to the commission by one of the speakers. We've investigated all the ways you can do this, and unfortunately, there's not a way. We really agree on the fact that we don't want this. We don't find it appealing that this impacts our term, but there's no other way around it. It's going to impact someone's term, and if we delay it, it costs dollars. The thing that we need to remain focused on is that doing this will boost turnout and it will save money to the tune of $100,000 over the next 10 years. I mean, you're talking about $100,000 in savings over the next 10 years at $20,000 an election. So considerable amount of savings. It's significant. And you have a significant increase in voter turnout. And, we have no choice, no other way to do that. And so that's really what's, I guess, directing the decision in the manner in which it's going. And, if you feel like it tarnishes my image or the image of these others, I hate to hear that. We're making a decision we feel like is in the best interest of the city. Boost voter turnout, save money. Okay, Mr. Gallup?
Yeah, I agree with you as everything stands right now. The only other way to do this is to go to Ron Waller and try to get him to sponsor something and make a change so we could have a referendum. We could do something special, but that would take time and investigation, and not necessarily that may or may not work, but that is the other option that is out there. But as it presently stands right now, there is nothing to do. And that has been told to me by Chris, so.
Yeah, we just, I'm sorry,
It
Commissioner.
cannot go to a vote.
That's correct. Normally, this comes up a lot, it came up a few times over a few years on a couple different topics, but the city can only put certain things out to a vote that you're authorized either through your charter or state statute to put to a vote, put to a referendum. You can't just sort of test the waters in various cities, and there's nothing that authorizes or empowers the city to send this to a referendum.
And then, we discussed what Commissioner Gallup was suggesting as a legislative act of some kind, and we discussed that. And legislative acts oftentimes require you to, for passage, successful passage, would require you to get a lobbyist maybe, or you have to go to make multiple trips to Nashville, or you got thousands of dollars involved in a process that may not be passed this year, the next year, may take multiple years. And so when you consider a legislative act, it sounds very simple, but it's actually a very complex process that can be long drawn out and expensive. And you've got to weigh these things in your mind and try to determine what's the value in going there. Is it to save what some may consider my image, or do we just move on and save the city money and boost turnout and do what we think is the right thing for the city? I mean, sometimes you just got to make a decision, work with the laws you've got, and move forward. That's not a battle that I want to invest the city's money in or our staff's time in fighting. But we got a lot bigger items on our agenda than that. So I would pursue it if it were something of value, and we knew it had a high probability of success. But this is just not one of those items that rises to that level in my mind. Yes?
Most of the stuff that you said is correct. Well, all of it might be correct. It might be a lobbyist, but also MTAS does assist with doing that because Ronnie Neal said that. And I'm not proposing that people don't vote for it. I'm just trying to get the facts out there. So, because I don't want, if this goes, if everybody votes for this and it goes through, I don't want people coming back at the end and saying, hey, but they said this couldn't happen. This way, everybody knows up front what's going on and how the chips fall, they fall.
Yeah, I think we hashed this out pretty thoroughly, so we're ready for a vote on the item? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign.
Aye.
Okay, Madam Recorder, let's have a roll call, because we have opposition on this item.
Vice Mayor Roman,
Yes?
Commissioner Dial,
Yes.
Commissioner Gallup,
No.
Commissioner Plonk,
Yes.
Mayor Bunker.
Yes.
4 to 9.
All right, that item passes. Madam Recorder, next item, please.
Ordinance first reading, amending the membership of the Economic Development Commission and updating the Lakeland Code.
Okay, do I have a motion for this item? A motion from Commissioner Roman, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Commissioner Gallick. And so items properly on the floor. Do we have discussion on this? Commissioner Webb?
Mayor, I'd like to offer a friendly amendment, which states that the liaison will serve for a 1-year term. Most of our terms are 2 years. I would like to change that to a 2-year term.
And that's received without objection. So ordered. Was there another amendment that was brought to my attention at some point? I'm forgetting. I know that was one, but I'm thinking there was 2.
We did remove the MTC liaison.
NBC
from this
liaison,
ordinance.
and that's gone.
That's gone.
I see where it's going. Okay. All right, do we have any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Item passes unanimously. Madam Recorder, next item, please.
Resolution approving an amended preliminary development plan for Kensington Manor Plan Development.
Okay. Staff? Emily, good evening.
Hello, good evening, Emily Harold, city engineer. Okay, this is in regards to Kensington Manor, plan development. Regency Home Builders, presented the city with a request for amendments to the PDP, December 21st. There were 3 requests. The first one was to revise the required improvements to Chambers Chapel to 22 feet of pavement with curb and gutter along the west edge of the pavement, median curb on the east edge of the pavement. Staff stayed with their recommendation. We are okay with this with the addition of the sidewalk and the planting zone. You can see this map, the area in yellow is the right-of-way that will be dedicated in phase 1. If there was any question what area we were talking about here. So that was one concession that was made. The second request was to hold off the, in lieu of construction payment for this section of roadway until phase 5. Staff recommends that the payments be made with the dedication of the right-of-way for that phase. There are a few reasons for that. One is we're never assured that development is going to go through all phases, so this just assures us that the money will be there if the development does fail to be completed through phase 3. Another reason was we have some other developments coming up, and this may set precedent, so unless we can, we have a unique situation here that would make this stand out against other developments, then maybe that would be a reason for us to defer it. But I haven't been presented with any unique situation, in my opinion. So that, I would recommend that payment in lieu of be paid in phase 1. The third amendment was to modify the setback. Well, there's a note to modify the setback and to require the preservation of a 62-inch cedar tree. They provide a letter from an arborist stating that it was in poor health, so we are okay with removing that note. So those were the 3 recommendations that staff has. Are there any questions? I know that the applicant is here to present his case, so we'd like to hear from him.
Great, that'd be great. Let's just go ahead and hear from the applicant as well, and then we'll go to commissioners, and I'll check for cards if we want to speak on this if we do.
Thank you. I'm Paul Ryan with Regency Home Builders. The only issue that's unresolved, if you will, is the deferment of the payment in lieu of on Chambers Chapel that is shown on overhead. We're anxious to start developing and building in Lakeland. We're actually looking at another piece of property in the city. But that being said, we need to make sure that all the projects we do make sense economically. And as I mentioned briefly, I think last week, a lot of front-end costs in phase one of Kensington Manor. The shift there is, phase one is only 24 lots. So again, we requested that the payment in lieu of be deferred until phase five. And the reason we selected phase five was in talking with the staff, it's in phase five that the intersection of Evergreen and Highway 70 would be closed, and that was the point in time that maybe the need for Chambers Chapel becomes more critical. So that was our rationale. We could agree to move it to phase four if that would make the city feel more comfortable with it. I think you'll see from the area that's highlighted, at this point it really doesn't connect either to the north or to the south. So the road doesn't really do anything right now. And in phase two, we will be improving a section of Chambers Chapel. It will connect back down to Memphis, Arlington to the south. So we just ask for your consideration when you do that payment in lieu of to make this phase four. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Sure. Commissioners, I'll defer to you. I have a couple of questions, comments, but if commissioners do, I'll defer to them first. Okay, just get my attention if you'd like to speak. I personally wouldn't be in favor of, I've thought about it quite a bit. I considered phase four. I wouldn't consider phase five, but I considered phase four, and I could only bring myself to do phase three on this. Am I doing that?
I'm doing it.
Oh.
Because it's.
Okay. So we have
Oh,
a four.
underneath.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. We can deal with that. It's okay. Our audio expert, city manager.
I pushed it under there. It was just hanging every time I went under.
All right. I didn't know if it's microphone.
Can you repeat the last thing you said? It was kind of.
Yeah. So I wouldn't consider deferral of the payment in lieu of to phase five. I considered phase four, but I personally am not willing to go past phase three. I think phase three, you have a lot of cost on over one. I'm sympathetic to that, and two. Phase three is what I'm personally comfortable with. And with everything we've given on this thing, I know we've got to do something to make it work. It's kind of a small development, and there's some trees and whatever. We allowed you to come in and you're clearing all the lots at one time, and that's going to save you a little bit of money. We eliminated the clubhouse. We took off half the Chambers Chapel development. Setbacks were modified. So there's a lot of things we've done in concessions to try to make this easy on you guys. And I feel like the city, we put the city in a position where it assumes too much risk past phase three. And I'm not so sure, but we're assuming too much in phase three, but I am willing to go phase three because I did look into the details, which you're explaining to me, your expenses in phase one and two. And I'm afraid that if we don't concede that this project won't ever move forward, if we don't give some concession here. And so I think a good balancing point behind what you're pitching and what we are willing to do might be phase three. And so I propose that we amend the development agreement, I guess, to require the developer to provide payment in lieu of on phase three.
Be the PDP first. This item is to approve amendments to the PDP.
Amendments to the PDP.
And then the next agenda item will be the development agreement, which we can make the.
Development agreement, okay, so we'll amend it.
So this one is the amendment to the PDP.
Okay.
That's what this resolution is for.
So amendment to the PDP. We need to make the same amendment to both, would that be it?
When we make the amendment to the
I guess we could ask
PDP
both.
to accept, so we would accept the resolution as is, but making the change to phase three. And we would go to phase three. Then on the development agreement, I would have to change fees. I have to take out the in lieu of fees
Okay.
on the development agreement, but that's the only change.
Okay, so in the PDP, we'd like to, I'd like to make a motion to change payment in lieu of from phase one to phase three. That'd be our
Right.
first. So I'll make that in the form of a motion. Do I have a second? Okay, I have a second. Motion and a second from Commissioner Dow. Do we have any discussion on the amendment? Have any discussion?
Actually, I would like to hear from Emily as to if this is a good enough
Absolutely.
concession and,
Absolutely.
just to get your feedback.
So phase 3?
If we moved it to phase 3, because you said that they have not brought anything back to you to convince you or to negotiate with.
Yeah, I mean, phase 3 is better than phase 5, definitely. So if we want to make a concession on this, then phase 3, I mean, we can deal with it. You're just that much closer to, getting it done in phase 3 definitely is a lot more promising than maybe phase 5.
And that's a sign of a good staff member, one that approaches these things conservatively. So
I mean,
I appreciate that.
Ideally, we would like to have it in phase 1. If you guys are willing to hold it off with phase 3, I can support holding it off with phase 3. We just assume a little bit of risk, not as much as risk.
My concern is this, we want this developer to move forward and we want to be accommodating.
Right,
My concern is down the road,
yeah,
is,
right.
Every developer going to come in and say, you did it for this guy. So is there any concessions, if we're giving concessions to him, is there anything that you see that can come back basically to bite us? I mean, to be blunt.
This is some last.
I mean, any developer can come in just as he did and make a request
Yeah.
to amend their PP, or even to ask from the front end. Someone who doesn't have an approval yet, I mean, they can always ask for that. But
Is there anything legal? I mean, is there anything legal if we give one and we don't give the others? Okay.
Right. And I think these kind of requests are somewhat common. Maybe they're not all agreed to, but they're somewhat common. And with smaller developments, we can just explain if it's a larger development, hey, this was a unique situation where we had a property that had a lot of requirements on it. It was bank held, and we were trying to spur growth and so forth and so on. So it's different time, different place.
This is the one we upped the brick on too, as well. We made a stricter requirement as to the brick that was on the houses too, so.
That's right. So we increased our quality demands on the developer as well. So, yeah, good point. I forgot about that.
and the fact that this has been in the loop for so long, I mean, maybe that's just one of the points is that we're ready to try to get this development rolling. I mean, we'll run on, whatnot.
Yeah, Commissioner Plunk, and then I'll go to that action. All right, Commissioner.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Yeah, I was going to say that, yes, it's true, but this has been going on for at least 10 years. And then also, we had a meeting, or we had a party for the developers a little over a year ago saying that, hey, listen, we want your business, you're welcome to Lakeland, so I'm willing to bend over backwards and to, especially with this project, since it's been going on for so long. So I go along with either phase 4 or whatever the majority of them do.
Okay. Jim, I have you next.
Yeah, I think, as Emily mentioned, I think it's important to be clear why we're doing this, making this exception for this one, so it doesn't give us not technically a precedent, what does it mean for future developments? And, I think I've heard, Chambers Chapel being dead and now, and it wouldn't go anywhere at this point, probably until phase 5 goes in, which helps. I think another distinction is this is a planned development, which is, done under our old code, so it's an overlay, more of a standalone development. It's not tied directly to our ordinances, but it's a standalone negotiated plan to approve. Other plans more recently adopted when it's straight zoning or straight plat subdivision, which is different. This is a plan development overlay, standalone, and with that, there's a lot of negotiation that goes on throughout the plan, not just in the payment in lieu, but, as far as lot size and setbacks, everything else. Find that a lot of our city that has approved plans on it now, we have 9 outstanding. All of them are different because they all came in as PD, so they're separately negotiated. So this, concession would be contained within this PD, not part of the straight zoning subdivision. So one more distinction, I think, would be helpful.
Okay. All right, Commissioner. Do we have any other comments, questions, anything else? Okay, we're voting on the amendment that is moving requiring the roadway payment in lieu of from phase 1 to phase 3. So this is just the amendment. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Item passes unanimously. It is amended, so we are hearing the resolution as amended. Do we have any further discussion on the resolution of PDP? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Item passes unanimously as amended. Madam Recorder, next item, please.
Resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a residential subdivision development contract with Regency Home Builders LLC for a 24-lot subdivision to be known as Kensington Manor Phase 1.
Okay, do you have a motion to put this to the floor?
So moved.
I have a motion from Commissioner Gallup. Do I have a second? A second from Commissioner Roman. Items properly on the floor for discussion. Emily?
Emily Harold, city engineer again. So this is the development agreement for Kensington Manor Phase 1. The amounts will change. The amount to the general fund will be reduced by $118,017.41. That is the, in lieu of payment for the road improvement. So it will be reduced by that amount. The security will stay the same. That was not included in the security.
Okay. Make a motion to amend to reflect that reduction that was stated by the city engineer. I have a second from Commissioner Roman. Amendments properly on the floor. Do we have any discussion on that? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. The amendment passes unanimously. Madam Recorder, we are on the resolution. Do we have any further discussion on the resolution as amended? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Item passes unanimously as amended. Madam Recorder, next item, please.
Resolution appointing the Parks and Recreation Board as the official Keep Lakeland Beautiful affiliate.
Okay. Do I have a motion to get this to the floor for discussion? I have a motion from Commissioner Gallup. Do I have a second?
Second.
A second from Commissioner Dow. I sponsored this item. Hang on just a second. Appointing the Parks and Recreation Board. Okay. Just trying to make sure I'm seeing the next resolution on here, and I was reading that, I was thinking we put one before the other, but yeah, I recommended this, and I want to start out by saying I did not intend to come across as critical, I guess not critical, maybe harsh towards one of my colleagues, Commissioner Gallup. And if I came across that way, I apologize, Commissioner Gallup. I'm not trying to personally attack you in any way. I'm trying to preserve our processes. And so that was my only intent, was to point out that we have processes in place that have to be abided by. And we have to remain faithful to those, because if we as a board don't uphold our processes, our policies, our ordinances, and things like that, the people that we serve cannot be expected to either. And so it's just what I was trying to communicate, and probably came across as offensive, and for that, once again, I apologize. Also, I think it was taken that I'm trying to, or conveyed by some people that I'm trying to eliminate the Keep Lakeland Beautiful Board. I'm not doing that. My resolution doesn't say that. It doesn't even suggest that. I'm just trying to make it official. And by doing this, if you look at this in an open-minded manner, I know it changes life in small ways as they know it now, but it actually empowers that group as an official board to do things, to have resources available that aren't available to them now. And there are definitely two ways to do this. And I'm not, I guess I should have taken a softer approach to it last time, so I wasn't maybe misunderstood, and maybe I didn't offend people, because I'm not really willing to spill blood over it, because it's not that important. I will say this. My main two issues were, one, I want to make what we're doing official, so we aren't violating our own rules, our own processes and stuff. I want to make it official. And two, I want to be mindful of staff's time. When we came in, we had 6 or 7 volunteer bodies. And, we have 4 now, and last meeting we were talking about separating out the Economic Development Board and this Keep Lakeland Beautiful Board, and we find ourselves in the same situation as when we came in. So I think it's important for us to be mindful of staff's time, because they have to stay over. For every one of these volunteer bodies we have to stay over. And we'll find ourselves, overloading them, exhausting them after hours. And so I'm trying to find creative ways to keep people involved, provide them the resources they need to be successful in the city. We appreciate Keep Lakeland Beautiful. I know Delphine, you don't agree with me on this, but I do appreciate the work you do. And, I think there's some value in it. And so whatever the board decides, I'll abide by the will of the board and I'll go along with it. If you decide tonight to move with a separate committee, that's fine, but I just think we need to be mindful of staff's time. Commissioner.
My question was, how does this impact the next resolution? I mean, if they do become a separate board, do we still have a Parks and Rec as the official person and they're a separate board? Or how does Resolution 8 affect Resolution 9? That's what I'm asking.
Resolution 9 essentially would be withdrawn if Resolution 8 were amended to make Keep Lakeland Beautiful a separate freestanding board. So if we made it a freestanding board, you would withdraw 9. 9 is simply us requesting the Parks and Recreation Board. It would be inappropriate for us as a body to direct the Parks and Recreation Board to create a subcommittee. And so we are requesting that they consider creation of a subcommittee, and I'm sure that they would, oblige if we ask. And so a resolution is the manner in which we ask.
I asked Chris this today because I know that it's complicated. It's not just, hey, let's change this. He said we would have to strike it. If that is the will of the body, that we would have to strike it and, take it off the agenda and then come back and do an ordinance, because that would change the way that our charter reads. And then once we have, the code, sorry. And once we have that ordinance, then we would do the resolution and go forward, correct?
Well, if you did it by ordinance, there wouldn't be a resolution.
There's still, okay.
Yeah.
You just do it by ordinance.
Yeah, so essentially tonight on this, if you're wanting to Keep Lakeland Beautiful as a separate board, you would vote this down.
Yes.
And at a later date, bring back an ordinance to create that board. And then it would be heard separately, and 9 would be withdrawn, obviously.
And I also want to address, you can pass that down. I know that you're concerned about operations, but I keep paper on everything. I looked through stuff because I'm a rule follower, except when speeding sometimes. Evelyn left, I think, on that paper, the 31st. There was an actual resolution signed by the highest ranking officer on the 12th to make it an official committee of the city. So it's not a board, but it was an official committee. And then the rest of the stuff, a lot of it was done by me on my own, not with the city, but collecting data and compiling it. And once it was turned in, really, we had 1 or 2 meetings, and then I gave it back to Jim. So I just wanted to clarify any misunderstanding. I know people aren't involved. I certainly don't know everything that the Parks Board does. I don't know everything that the MPC does, so that way it just clarifies it. The other thing that I do want to request is that, whether it be last week or next week or whenever, moving forward, I just ask that this legislative body treat each other with respect, treat the residents with respect, and all the guests that come to the city, because we owe that much to the city, and we took an oath to do that. And lastly, I guess you said we just needed to vote no, so we don't need to strike anything if we want to. You said we just vote no, and that.
If you would like JLB to be a standalone board, you vote no on this and come back with an ordinance.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner?
I'll call for the vote.
All right. We have a call for the question without objection. We're going to move straight to a vote unless we have objection to the call. All right, seeing no objection, Madam Recorder, let's call the roll on this item.
Vice Mayor Roman,
No?
Commissioner Dial,
No.
Commissioner Gallick,
No?
Commissioner Plunk,
No.
Mayor Bunker.
Yes.
It is 1-4.
Okay, item fails, and 9 is withdrawn. Item 8 fails, 9 is withdrawn. Item number 10, Madam Recorder.
Resolution approving the logo of the city of Lakeland, Tennessee.
Do I have a motion to get this to the floor?
So moved.
All right, do I have a second? Second. All right, I have a motion from Commissioner Gallick, I have a second from Commissioner Plum. Items properly on the floor for discussion. Do you have any discussion on the city logo? Seeing none, if we're prepared to vote, I don't want a presentation by staff or anything.
Actually, I do have one question.
Okay.
Because last week we talked about the tree, and I left here unclear if we can use the tree, if we can't use the tree, or,
Yeah, let me comment on that. We amended the resolution to add the tree in. So what you'll see in the resolution is this will be the logo of the city of Lakeland.
okay.
And then in the separate section that would allow this as a secondary that can use at our discretion in certain contexts.
Okay.
Or can we just use the tree?
It could be added.
Okay.
If it's left in there open at the discretion of me actually and how we use it, but it would be the secondary as long as we know that this is the primary logo.
Thank you.
So the resolution reflects that.
All right. Any other comments, questions? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Item passes unanimously. Madam Recorder, next item, please.
Resolution authorizing the city manager to negotiate a contract with Wind Lease Infrastructure LLC to site a communication tower on 5 acres of city-owned property located west of Canada Road, east of El Hill Road.
Okay, do I have a motion to get this to the floor?
So moved.
I have a motion from Commissioner Gallick, do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Plunk. Items properly on the floor, do we have any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Item passes unanimously. Madam Recorder, next item, please.
Resolution approving the submittal of applications for funding through the 2017 through 2020 Transportation Improvement Program.
Okay, I need a motion to get this to the floor. Do I have a motion? I have a motion from Commissioner Dodd, do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Gallick. Items properly on the floor. Do we want to hear anything further on this? I think we heard last week that there's really no time to submit anything else. These were previously approved plans that the city engineer, and the city engineer just came on board, so time is of the essence on approval, and I don't know that I think we talked this thing in the dirt last time. Any comments, questions, need for presentation?
She said she added one thing.
Yes,
This week.
I added, Huff and Puff is actually on the tip now. I added to carry it over to the next tip just in case it doesn't get obligated by June. That way we won't miss out for 4 years. We should have it obligated by June, the fund's obligated for construction, but if for some reason it doesn't happen, this is like a safety net.
Okay.
So if construction does start, we get the funds obligated by June, we'll take it back off. But this is just a little safety net, so.
And this is for you. Do we vote as one package, or do we vote separate things on there, or how do we?
We're going to vote as one package, it's presented as one resolution.
Okay.
We're voting on the resolution, I thought, so, any other questions, comments? Anyone? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Item passes unanimously. Madam Recorder, are there any other items come before the committee? Sorry. Time to post. Seeing none. Public discussion we've already had, I believe. And announcements, do we have any announcements? Any announcements? All right. Then adjourn, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right, I have a motion to adjourn, second from Commissioner Roman. Motion was by Commissioner Gallick. Commissioner Gallick gave the motion, second by Roman, without objection. So ordered. We are adjourned.